be doing sort of a day in the life of. I tell you what I need to do is change my oil. I'll give this thing an oil change and transmission fluid change. I like to change both of them together at the same time. Just, ensures the transmission stays good for a long period of time. First things first, loosen the cap up top. Oh boy. Headers got crushed. It's time for a new set. I think I'm gonna go OEM. Really hate these things. Anyway, so we got a little drain pan here. We got a bolt 17 millimeter. We're gonna pop that thing, girl. Pull it very hot. Definitely ready for an oil change, that's for sure. Now while the oil is draining, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the speed sensor because that's where I'm actually going to refill the transmission, is through the speed sensor, because it's a whole lot easier. And it only takes one 10 millimeter bolt. So you go down here, unplug it. Now the fun in this is that it usually does take a ridiculous amount of extension. Woo boy. That's the bolt that goes on right there. There's only one bolt that holds it in. You might have a speed sensor that actually has a few bolts holding the sensor together, so don't take those off. Okay, now we're gonna pull the speed sensor out, set it to the side. Now it's just open. I'm gonna go check on the oil and drain the transmission fluid. She's been draining for a while. She's still a little drippy, but we're gonna go ahead and plug her up. And wipe away any oil. Drain the transmission fluid. There's just a bolt right there. It's square. You can stick a ratchet right up into it. Bust that girl loose. But this thing's so short, I don't think I can do it. Okay, take two. I got something a little longer. Oh, there we go. Not a problem now. Don't drop the bolt in the bucket. Hold it up in there. Oh, I can see it. Here she comes. Woo! Splashy, splashy. It looks good. No metal chunks. But I like to make sure my stuff is clean. Okay, now I'm actually going to get the oil filter from the top. It's a little easier on this car. Put the drain plug back into the transmission. New oil filter going on. Make sure you lube up the ring with some oil first before you put it on. I'm putting it on now. This poor camera's been through too much. About time for a new one. Anyway, the oil filter just gets hand tightened on there, so don't over tighten it, but it should be tight so it doesn't leak. That's why you always start the car up and make sure there's no leaks before you drive off. So now I'm going to refill the oil and the transmission fluid. Now, at this point, I don't care what anybody says. I don't. In my experience, this has always worked for me. It's always basically delivered on what it's promised. And I've never blown up an engine, and I rev my engines high. Over-rev them, as a matter of fact, and that's what I'm known for. Even B20 VTECs, I've revved to 9,000 RPMs all day, stock internals. People will sit there and say, oh, it can't handle that, it'll blow up, it'll blow up. I use this product, and it works for me. Never had a problem. Yes. Lucas oil stabilizer. There's a lot of people out there that'll tell you, oh no, don't use that, it's blah 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 blah. Trust me, never had a problem out of it. Never had anything go wrong because I used the oil stabilizer. I will also say the biggest contributing factor to your engine developing a rod knock or blowing up or stretching a rod bolt or blah blah blah, or whatever you want to call it, whatever demise your engine has, that's usually because the shock of the clutch engaging. It's usually what it is. If you have a B20 VTEC with a stock flywheel and a heavy clutch, and you love to slam gears and pop that clutch in and out, that's usually going to cause engine failure quicker than anything else. However, I usually also use a thinner oil, 5W30, 5W20. Supposedly winter's coming or something, so I went with 5W30 to kind of up the viscosity a little bit, but whatever, it'll be fine. So please start typing your comments now about how horrible this product is. Now, if you're a newbie and you have never changed your transmission fluid before, this works the same on D series as B series and even K series, I'm pretty sure. We're going to use this guy to put the fluid back into the transmission, into the speed sensor hole. You can get these at any local auto parts store, and they're very handy. So we're going to take this, drop it down into the hole. There we go, she's down in the hole. Now, if you don't know, Honda manual transmissions are supposed to take Honda manual transmission fluid. But in reality, Honda manual transmission fluid hasn't been around that long. But before that, it was just regular oil. So you can throw regular oil in there, just 5W20, 5W30. But that being said, do not put very thick gear oil in there. But one of the best things other to put into your transmission, especially if you got grinding gears or you don't want to grind gears, is basically a product called Synchromesh, which is in a yellow bottle, and it's made by GM, and it's a great product. However, the store I went to didn't have it, so I got the Valvoline version. Whatever. I changed my fluid so much, and I baby my transmission. I granny shift. I don't like grinding gears. I'm not going to do it. Okay, always check the dipstick. You can see that. It's a little more, just a little more. One more time. And we are good. Right where the second dot is. Same goes for the transmission, 2 quarts, and you know, it's in there. We're done. Now we're gonna put our speed sensor back in. Should just drop down in there. Just plug it up. There we go. We're in there. I'm gonna line it up with the hole, with the bolt to go into. We'll put our cap on. We'll put it on the ground. We'll start it up, let it idle for about 5 minutes, and then should be good. Check for leaks. As long as there's no leaks, we're A-okay. Recently sold my Type R cluster because I wanted to do something a little bit different, but this is my backup cluster. It's a CRV cluster. We're going to try to do something a little bit different. So we're going to take the plastic off. We're going to take the ring off. Then we're going to take the shroud off. Now you have these 3 things left here. 1, 2, 3. If we turn them over, it screws out very carefully. The meter falls out. Okay, so now that we have this separated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it up. Paint the needles. Now whatever you do, do not spin them around. Okay? Just leave it right there and it's fine. Okay, took the gauges and I taped them up. And I sprayed the needles yellow. Looks like a bunch of yellow. They should be dry. I'm going to pull the tape off. See what they look like. And there we go. I'm going to put this back together. This is an easy cheap mod, but you have to be very delicate with what you do. Do not over tighten screws. Do not break anything. So with that being said, you know, something fun, something different, something a little different than everybody else. Let's go put it in. Okay, now before I bolt everything back in, or screw everything back in, I want to make sure all the lights work and everything works. She got squealy belt. Seems to work fine. My Integra seats are looking a little out of place. So I've had some seats for sale for a while, but nobody really has bought them for what I was selling them for. Which the price wasn't that much. I was only asking $400. I got a pair of Mint DC2 Integra Type R seats. USDM, and they're in pretty good condition too. They're not tore up or anything, no burns. A little bit of bolster wear, but nothing abnormal. They got the red stitching. I don't know, I got red stitching in my car. Maybe I should just put them in. I don't know if you can make a video about putting seats in. It's 4 12mm bolts. Yeah, whatever, let's do it. Welcome to another episode of Honda Street Garage where we're gonna just put some seats in. Damn, my car dirty as hell. What do you think? Maybe some red carpet. That'll look good. Shit looks awful. Yeah, I think it's time for some new carpet. Anyway, it's 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be honest with you, only 3 bolts bolt up. so it's not exactly the safest thing in the world, but you can just swap the rails. I plan on getting red cars eventually, so that's why I'm not too worried about it. We got the one in. We got the other one out. It's still dirty. Look for a carpet install in the future video. And there you have it. I gotta go clean them up.